Hello, I'm Lucia Capacchione, and I'm the author of The Creative Journal. I'm also an art therapist and a teacher, and I'd like to share with you today some of the techniques from this book and tell you a little bit about the philosophy of creative journaling. It is a method in which we use drawing and writing. It's a little unusual. Most people think of journaling as writing. And because I'm an art therapist, I've brought the art therapy piece into it. And we use very simple materials that you probably have around the house. These are kindergarten crayons, and of course markers. We use thick markers, and we also use thin markers for writing and drawing. The thick markers are really nice for very bold drawing, and of course so are the crayons. And the other materials we use, of course, are a journal. And I like to use something that's about 8.5 by 11 or 9 by 12 because it gives you a lot more page space. Especially when you start drawing and scribbling your feelings out, you're going to really want that space. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what the ground rules are, because the ground rules are what make the creative journal what it is. First of all, it's private. It needs to be private so that you feel safe putting whatever you feel and whatever you think down in your journal. And it's also something that you want to store in a private place so that other people can't find it and just go through it. Why are we keeping it private? Because you want to be honest with yourself in this method. Otherwise, there's really no point in doing it. If you're worried about what somebody's going to think about what you write or draw, you won't be honest with yourself. And the first rule about this is honesty with self in the journal. Just letting out whatever's going on, feelings, thoughts, creative ideas, dreams at night, dreams for your life, things that you want, all kinds of things like that. And in order to be really honest with yourself, you need to do that. Keep it private. Now, that doesn't say that you can't share it with somebody that you feel safe with. And what is safe? Well, safe is somebody who really accepts you as you are and won't judge and criticize your journaling. And you would be very selective and just share certain things that you felt comfortable with. This might be a therapist, it might be your best friend, it might be your spouse, it might be people in your family that you really trust. It doesn't matter who it is, but they need to be trustworthy, non-judgmental. That's really important. Journaling in my method does not have to be done every day. I know that if you tell me I have to do something every day, I probably won't do it. So I don't impose that on other people. I think it should be done when you really feel that you have a lot to unload, a lot of emotions you're building up, or you have some visions for yourself, things that you want to accomplish in your life, and you want to play with those ideas in your journal. Or you just want to write about or draw your experiences, just to kind of mull them over and enrich the experience by expressing it through the arts. Now, I know what you're saying. I'm not an artist. I don't have any talent. I'm sure a lot of you think that. And you don't really need any talent to do this work. This is very simple, and I'm going to show you some examples from my journal. I'm an artist. I was identified as talented in art from the time I was a child. But I'm sure that you can do something that looks like this, even if you don't have any background in art. These were my recent journal drawings of how I was feeling. Just putting it out with my non-dominant hand, using markers, and just letting it flow out. Every now and then I'd put words in. I put right brain, left brain on that page. And then I write about what I've scribbled. And I do a lot of the writing with my non-dominant hand. I will ask questions with my dominant hand, and I'll answer them with my non-dominant hand. The non-dominant hand is going to be accessing your right brain and bringing feelings and creativity out. And of course, if any of you know about the inner child, it's going to bring your inner child out as well. So these are some of the basic principles that make the creative journal method unique. The use of both hands, and of course the use of drawing and writing, and the opening of both sides of the brain and connecting the sides of the brain. So that's really important. Now, sometimes in addition to scribbles, we will get symbols. Here's an example from the book of somebody who was going through a very difficult time. And he drew himself as a poor helpless creature crying for love and attention. So, you know, he really got to a place of very deep feelings with that. He wasn't an artist and he thought he didn't have talent, but it came out in a very profound way. What led up to that were a bunch of scribbles and him questioning it. I don't have any talent and I can't draw and this is going to look ugly, blah, blah. That's very typical. So if that happens to you and you're using this method, then, welcome to the club. Most people feel that. I also want to share with you some work that I did in my own journal, in which I was kind of reflecting what's going on in our times, and it came out as some images that kind of looked like coronavirus. Yeah? I was watching the news and I was feeling a lot of the anger about the way people have been treated, especially black people in this country, people of color, and I really felt very deeply about that, so I scribbled it out. But I realized that it had a resemblance to the coronavirus, which is red, that we see on television a lot. So I realized that there were two things going on at the same time in the world that was really impacting me. And I was able to get the feelings out by just scribbling. Another time I was feeling kind of stressed and pressured, too much work, and I started out by drawing my body, how it felt. And you can see all the squiggly lines and scribbling. And there was a lot of stress going on in my shoulders and my back. And then I drew a picture of the way I wanted it to feel, the energy flowing down my back, out of my arms, and a very pleasant picture that I could look at and feel better about. I often do dialogues with the body. There are exercises in this book where you do conversations with your body and find out what's really going on in your life, because your body knows the truth. It's not going to lie to you, and if you ask it, it will tell you. There are lots of other exercises in the book that have to do with calming down, and we certainly need that right now. These are mandalas that have been done by people in their journals, and they really are a way to center. That's a very ancient symbol, and it's an ancient practice that's been used in all cultures, and we have found through research that it's very valuable. There is other research that shows that writing in a journal, or just writing, is very therapeutic. Dr. James Pennebaker did research that showed that the group who wrote about trauma and about distress and problems had a better immune system function after doing that writing. The control group that wrote trivia didn't have any change in their blood and their samples of blood. So their immune system wasn't changed. Anyway, this is a fabulous method for you to use as a de-stressing tool, as a tool for developing creativity, and for experiencing your life in a deeper way, and also developing your right and your left brain and getting them to talk to each other through both hands and through drawing and writing. I hope you'll check it out and give it a try. Thank you.